Tremendous, lethal, volatile, earth-shattering sports talk will commence in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's go. This is the Doug Stewart Show coming to you live. Yes, live. Monday, October 14th. 2014, and thank you so much for joining your boy. And oh boy, it was a tremendous weekend in the world of sports. A lot to get into. I mean, a ton to get into. Upsets galore in college football. I mean, some of the biggest upsets you'll ever see. And in one state in particular, they just had a ball. They went ham on the rest of the competition. So we'll get into all of that. We'll take your phone calls. We'll get your ballers and your busters from this past weekend and have a lot of fun over the next 2 hours. The number to the show is 404-382-0338. That's the number to the show. And this is week number 3 of the Doug Stewart Show. And I just got to say this right now because it just tightened up on me a little bit. I need a backiotomy. Doctor, I need a backiotomy. My back is killing me. I'm getting old. Can't do it like I used to. Shouts out to everybody that came out to the Classic Party this past weekend at the Crown Plaza. Atlanta Classic weekend was just tremendous. It was incredible. It is what it is. And one thing about us at South Carolina State University is we kick much ass on the football field, as evidenced by the shutout win over North Carolina A&T this past weekend. A&T is our B. Yes, A&T is our B. Yeah, you figured it out. But we really, really love just to have a reunion and come together. And the big reunion is obviously in a couple of weeks for homecoming, and that's pretty much the way it is for most universities. But whenever we get the opportunity to come together and have a good time, we do it. I mean, it's like a family. It's like a family. And that's why we're trying, and we're praying for my middle daughter, Kayla, to attend South Carolina State University. Keep the tradition going. So we'll see about that. But yeah, I had a great time this past weekend, and I'm just hurt. Had the party Friday night. I've been talking about it for the last 6 weeks, pretty much. The Classic Party. And tremendous turnout. Fantastic time. Like I said, it was a reunion. It was a reunion in the ATL. And so we had a great time. Saw a lot of people I hadn't seen in years, and we won the game. Our band didn't really show out like we normally do. And I'm kind of pissed off about that. We got to talk to somebody about that because A&T clearly outperformed us this past weekend at the game. But, yeah, okay. But, yeah, I didn't like that. But, I mean, it was a great weekend outside of that, and also outside of the fact that my back is killing me, as I've said a couple of times already, and I'm just hurt. I didn't even go out Saturday night. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I didn't even go anywhere Saturday night because I was done after Friday. I was done, and I didn't even, I came home, I went to the game, tailgated, and came home and had all intentions of getting dressed and going back out again for Saturday night. I couldn't do it, man. I could not do it. It's as simple as that. I couldn't do it, and I'm going to be 45 years old next month, but I can whip most dudes 25, so I'm in great shape, but my kick-it status and capability has definitely been dialed down tremendously. I can't do it. I can't do it. And yeah, so it was a tough weekend, but it was a great weekend. Tailgating, game, we won, great party. I mean, what more could you ask for? Tremendous weekend. Shouts out to all my people that came to the city this past weekend. I'll see you in a couple weeks for homecoming in Orangeburg. All right, the number is 404-382-0338. You can also email me, Doug@thedougstewartshow.com. In particular, if you got a company out there, a brand, a product that you'd like to help to let me promote for you and become a partner with you on, email me at Doug@thedougstewartshow.com, and let's do business. That's my slogan. Let's do business. I mean, we're growing by leaps and bounds. Every single day we come on, we do more numbers the day before than we did the day before. So people are responding. It's basically an extension of the Two Live Stews, except for it's one stew, not two. The other stew is retired. And I got to keep hammering this home. The other Stu is retired, and he's a full-time Mr. Mom. Yes, he is. Ryan Evans Stewart, who came out this past weekend, as a matter of fact, is a full-time mom. So we'll probably get him on at some point this week to get his thoughts on everything going on in the world of sports. But it's one Stu, but it's live, just like two of them is real live, all right? All right, and so obviously this past weekend, some tremendous games, some tremendous upsets in college football, and we're going to get into all the college football stuff. Obviously, big week in the world of the NFL, in particular with the hometown teams here in Atlanta, the Falcons, Georgia Tech, and the University of Georgia for the state of Georgia. They all got wins, except for the Falcons. The college teams got wins. And the Falcons went down 30-20 this past weekend in the Meadowlands in New Jersey to the New York Football Giants. And what can you say? This is not new. I mean, this is something we've been talking about week in and week out before the season even started when the Falcons were doing Hard Knocks, is that this team can score with anybody. The thing is it can't stop anybody. It can't stop anybody. And Odell Beckham Jr., in his first game as a New York Giant, the guy that was drafted in the first round, looked like a superstar out there. All right, he's the first Giants player with a reception TD in his debut since Marcellus Rivers in 2001. The Giant player with a TD in his debut since the first Giants player with a TD in his debut since Brandon Jacobs in 2005. So, incredible weekend for the Giants. They get it done, and they've won 3 in a row. And they lost their first 2 games, and everybody was like, are the Giants done? Because either the Giants win big or they lose. They don't even make it to the playoffs, or they go to the playoffs and they win a Super Bowl. And so the Giants have turned it around. But the big thing that we're talking about, obviously, is because we're a hometown show supporting the hometown team, is the Falcons. The Falcons can score on anybody. But in especially crucial moments, they can't stop anybody. They don't have the personnel. We've talked about this from day one. And what are your thoughts on the Falcons? I mean, is your mindset 100% changed from the start of the season? Were you a guy thinking the Falcons were going to go to the playoffs and contend for a Super Bowl? Or were you a guy like me that said they are a good team? They got a great offensive team and actually led the league in offense up until this weekend. Or are you a guy to say that they can score on everybody, but they're just not going to be very good in the stretch because they can't stop anybody? And you have to have defense. I mean, offense, scores points and gets fans, but defense wins championships. And it's just real tough. Matt Ryan had a great game, 316 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception. But they can't score. They've been having trouble scoring in the red zone. They've been having trouble on third down. So if a team comes in and makes a couple of stops against these Atlanta Falcons, then they're in trouble. Yeah, they're in absolute trouble if a team can get a couple of stops against the Falcons, because for the most part, teams have been scoring about 30 points on us every week. Yes, outside of the Tampa Bay win. And so if you can stop this team a couple of times, make them punt a couple of times, get their offense off the field, control the clock with some ground game as the Giants did this past weekend with the rookie Andre Williams from Boston College. He had a great game as well. If you can control the clock a little bit and keep the offense off the field, you got a good chance to beating the Falcons. You got a very good chance of beating the Atlanta Falcons. So tough weekend for the Birds. Hopefully they can regroup, get things back together. So right now, their record on the year for the Atlanta Falcons is not what you thought it was going to be at the onset. Right now, the Falcons are 2-3, and big win over Tampa Bay. That was a tremendous win, but that was kind of like an aberration. I think the team that you're more going to see is a team that's had tough losses against the Vikings this past weekend, against the Giants. Not so much Cincinnati, but I think the Falcons an 8-8 team. I think they're an 8-8 team. What are your thoughts on the Atlanta Falcons? Want to get the thoughts? 404-382-0338. That's the number to the show. On the good side of things, a ball award goes to the Georgia Bulldogs as they handle their business. A 44-17 win over the Vanderbilt Commodores. Great win for the Bulldogs. And wow, Todd Gurley continues to do his thing. 25 carries, 163 yards, 2 touchdowns. Right now, your leader for the Heisman Trophy. I think so. I think he's the leader for the Heisman Trophy right now. Now, there's a couple other guys that I'm going to get into a little bit later that have kind of made some charges as far as in the competition for the Heisman. So we'll talk about that later as well. And Georgia Tech, what about the Yellow Jackets? 28-17 win over the Miami Hurricanes. First time they've beaten Miami in 6 tries. And Georgia Tech sneaks into the top 25. Yes! Georgia Tech lands at number 22 on the AP poll at 5-0. Now, you say to yourself, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, you say to yourself, they're 5-0. Why aren't they higher? Well, they aren't higher because of Paul Johnson's offense and because I think most people don't believe that Georgia Tech is one of the elite programs in college football, plain and simple. You've got like 7, 8, 9 teams ahead of Georgia Tech right now in the AP poll that have 1 loss, including Georgia. Oregon, who lost this past weekend, an upset weekend. Kansas State is even ranked higher than Georgia Tech. So I think what that's a reflection of is that people don't buy into what Georgia Tech is selling as a program, as an offense, running that triple option offense. And I think it's just as simple as that. People don't buy into them. It's just as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Paul Johnson, with that offense, which he runs to a T, is a great coach, but you're expecting Georgia Tech to have a couple of losses. The best win they've had is on the road against Virginia Tech. But outside of that, marginal wins. Wins that they've looked good in offensively, but a team that's disciplined. And here's what you're thinking. A team that's disciplined will be able to probably stop Georgia Tech on any given Saturday. And so that's what it comes down to. Should the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets be getting a little bit more love? You can make an argument for it. Like I mentioned, there's probably like 8 teams ahead of them with 1 loss. So we'll see what happens with this team. But great win this past weekend for the Yellow Jackets. All right, the number is 404-382-0338. That's the number to the show. I need Boggs in all of the major cities that had big wins or big losses. I need a Bog in Dallas, Texas to talk about them Cowboys. Yes! And you know what a Bog is? A Bog is a boots on the ground guy. I talked about that last week. I need a boots on the ground guy in Dallas, Texas. In Cleveland, Brian Hoyer. What the hell is going on in Cleveland? Oh my gosh. Yes. So we're going to get into all of that. I'm getting your ballers and your busters. Just give me a call at 404-382-0338. As well as you can hit me on Twitter and on the chat room on Spreaker.com. On Twitter, my handle is The Doug Stewart Show. So hit me on there. I'll read some of your tweets. Read some of your chat on Spreaker. So we're doing it like that. Ballers and Busters Monday. Keep it locked. It's The Doug Stewart Show. I'm always saying get with the times. Stop acting like you at your mama house. Calling that girl you met at summer camp 2 states away. And your mama screaming out, I know you better not be talking long distance running up my bill with that little hussy girl. Well, get with the times with the long distance charges. Presenting Univon. Univon offers unlimited worldwide calling to 60 plus countries for $14.99 a month. No contract, no activation fee, and no cancellation fee. Users can call anytime using their mobile phone or home IP phone. So stop flushing money down the drain. Get more details by clicking Univon's link banner on thedougstewartshow.com or the link on the DougStewartShow.com app. Try out Univon and call your peoples like you not at your mama house. All right, I know the deal. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right, billions with a B. Well, just do it, and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one source, a Facebook shopping application, a mobile-optimized website, and much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on the link on the DougStewartShow.com or the app link for details. Doug Stewart Show is off and running. But just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk show personalities in America? By the way, that's me. Getting in on the ground floor? Well, call us at 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands nationally and worldwide, shawty. People know me and the Stews brand in these streets. Holla at you both. Once again, the number is 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com. Yes! This is the Doug Stewart Show. Appreciate you joining your boy. Monday, October 6th? Yeah, October 6th, 2014. Thank you for joining your boy. I really do appreciate it. What we need is bogs. I need bogs on the ground, boots on the ground, guys, in every city in this U.S. of A. A lot of huge things happened this past weekend. A lot of craziness happened in the world of the NFL and college football as well. So I'm taking your ballers and your busters. So give me a call at 404-382-0338. You can also hit me on the chat on Spreaker.com, where you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. And also go to my my homepage and my website, thedugstewartshow.com. I've got a brand new app. The Doug Stewart Show has its very own app. So I'm making it real easy for you to listen. Yes. So go to your app store and just search the Doug Stewart Show, and it'll pop right up. And you'll see my little home page that I've got pasted all over my different platforms. So check out the Doug Stewart Show app in the App Store. All right, 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. And I'm taking your ballers and your busters from this past weekend. And a lot to give out. And I've already got a couple of people already hitting me up saying, you got to go ahead and give the Dallas Cowboys their respect. And I will go ahead and do that. I will do that. I don't have a problem. Listen, I don't have a problem giving credit where credit is due. And I'm going to go ahead and give the Dallas Cowboys a baller award. They get it done 20-17 in dramatic fashion. Over the Houston Texans. Now, first of all, my first question is, what in the hell is going on with Dallas? It's like they're Notre Dame, like they got a leprechaun on their shoulder. I mean, a great win, but the two big passes that Tony Romo completed to Dez Bryant were like Hail Marys. Yes, they were Hail Marys. And you got to give a ball award in particular to Dez Bryant because he made some fantastic catches this weekend. I think Dez in the first couple of weeks has kind of separated themselves from that second tier or bottom of the first tier and elevated himself up to one of the top receivers in the game. And he's always had that potential and that ability, but a lot of times he's been injured. He's been in controversy. But Dez Bryant is a baller. And I mean, the touchdown pass that Romo threw to him in the end zone was all Dez Bryant. Like both of those passes, am I lying? And you can be a Cowboy fan and be honest. Am I lying that both of those passes that Tony Romo threw, the one in the end zone where Dez caught it for a touchdown, and the one at the end of the game to put him in range to kick the field goal where he threw it to him on the sideline, did he not throw the ball up and like close his eyes? Am I lying? Am I making that up? Am I what you'd call a Dallas Cowboy Tony Romo hater? No, I'm not. I'm telling the truth. He threw the ball up and like closed his eyes on both of them. And those are situations where historically Tony Romo would lose the game for you. The opposing team would make the interception and the game would be sealed. But not this weekend. Not this weekend. The Dallas Cowboys get it done, beating the Houston Texans, who Arian Foster had a great game, looked fantastic, kind of looked like the old Arian Foster. So great win for Dallas. You got to give him credit. The Cowboys are 4-1. You heard me right. The Dallas Cowboys are 4-1. Now, me and a lot of other people pegged them to have horrible years, but that doesn't look like it's going to be the case. And I don't know. I mean, but I can't get on here in front. I can't get on here and act like they aren't doing it. One thing I will give them much credit for is that their defense is playing fantastic. In relative terms, their defense is playing much better than they did last year when they had one of the worst statistically bad defenses in the history of the game. So, yeah, you got to give them credit. You got to give the Dallas Cowboys a little bit of credit. And on this show, I will do that. And I want to hear from some Cowboy fans. What do y'all think? Are y'all believers? Because you were real quiet at the start of the year. You were very quiet at the start of the year because you probably believe what all the experts were saying, that your team is horrible, that your team is bad. I picked them to win 5 games. That's in jeopardy. That's in jeopardy. I got to give it to Jason Garrett and Tony Romo and Des Bryant in particular. Like I said, they're shocking the world. Their defense is playing better than ever, and they're getting wins. A couple of these wins were automatic losses last year and under the regime of Tony Romo over the last couple of years, but they're finding a way to get it done. And so Dallas gets the ball award. I got to give him credit. All right, 404-382-0338. Let's talk to Jerome. Jerome, thanks for calling the Doug Stewart Show. What you got?
Jerome, this is Vern, Jersey Vern, baby.
Oh, this is Vern from Jersey. What's going on, Vern? How you doing?
I'm great, man. What's going on with you?
So why did I know that Vern from Jersey, the biggest Giants fan that I know, was going to be the first caller on the damn show today?
You know why? Because some Falcon fans, all last week, Doug, I couldn't find none of them with Falcon gear on. You know, I wore my gear most of the week. You know, I was calling them out. They wasn't around. And I said if they would have won yesterday, they would have had their gear on the day, on the whole week.
Well, Vern, Vern, you know that's how it works, Vern. I mean,
yeah, fair weather, no fair weather, man. But my ball is the Giants. My bus is the Michigan Wolverines. Just went into my home state and lost to the state college that just became a Big Ten school this year.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, wow, for real?
Yeah.
Michigan Wolverines? Where JP at? Always blue. They really blue to me. But anyway, I mean, I want to get on the Eagles and Cowboys, right? We have those two teams in the next 2 weeks, right?
Right.
The Eagles right now, they're suspect. You know, their running game is not really what it used to be. The quarterback, Foles, he's not what he's supposed to be.
Yeah, Foles has kind of been exposed. A lot of people thought that he had been doing it with smoke and mirrors, and he's not the guy that we saw just dominate last year.
Right, and the Cowboys, the offense is good because the offensive line is big again. But one thing about it is that defense hasn't been tested because the only team that they played that should have tested that defense was New Orleans. And why ain't nobody talking about how much Drew Brees sucked this year? He is not moving that offense. I don't know what it is, but he sucks this year. And the Cowboys are going to get their true test in 2 weeks because we're going down to Big D, and we're going to run them out of there. So all you Cowgirl fans that calling the dogs up, talking about bragging on your team, back to life, back to reality in 2 weeks, man. And like milk on a hot day where it gets spoiled, I'm gone.
And he's gone. All right. Appreciate the call, Vern. Vern called 404-382-0338. And, yeah, Vern is exactly right about a couple of these, the mentions of things that he talked about this past weekend. What the hell is going on with the New Orleans Saints? Saints get a big win this past weekend over Tampa Bay, but it was in overtime. And we're not used to seeing the New Orleans Saints struggle the way that they have. They always give up a lot of yards and a lot of points for the most part. But we're just used to seeing the offense just click on all cylinders, and it doesn't seem like that. He also mentioned that Michigan loses again. Michigan loses again to Rutgers this past weekend, and you can't lose to Rutgers if you're Michigan. If the name of your team is Michigan or Ohio State, you can't lose to Rutgers in his first year in the Big Ten. So, I'm one of the guys that believe that there's no way they're going to fire Brady Hoke during the season, and I still kind of stand by that because it really makes no sense to do that. But Michigan, this is really sad, and you've heard me say it before. I'm a proponent of the good teams being good because it's good for the sport. and it's better for the fans, and Michigan being good is a good thing. Michigan sucking, and I'm holding 2 thumbs down right now. Michigan sucks. They get the first 2 thumbs down suck of the day. And Brady Hoke, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing at this point. All right, up next on the Doug Stewart Show, going to delve a little bit deeper into these big upsets this past weekend in the world of college football. Just unbelievable weekend in college football. The state of Mississippi is rejoicing right now. They're rejoicing. We'll get into it and take your phone calls, read your tweets, and your chat on Spreaker.com. It's Sports Talk with Hot Sauce. It's the Doug Stewart Show. What is 9/11 Tax Relief? It's a tax relief company that can help you reduce or remove your IRS or state tax debt. They'll help stop bank levies and wage garnishments by implementing offers in compromise or penalty abatements. 9/11 Tax Relief is a tax relief company, but they're different from the others. Their experts are licensed, enrolled tax agents, and they also have more than 12 years experience helping people solve their tax problems. They're a tax relief company that understands how the IRS works, and they'll also put that knowledge to work for you so they can get you the best possible settlement or solution to your tax problems. Highly rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they've helped thousands of people solve their tax problems. So don't play around. Click on the link on my website and let 9/11 Tax Relief help you in your situation with our uncle, better known as Sam. So you think you're a fantasy whiz, huh? Well, prove it and make some nice scratch at the same time. Scratch is money. What do you know about FanDuel? FanDuel packs the thrill of a whole season in 1 week. Play in 1 week fantasy football leagues for free money with immediate cash payouts. The money is real with no season-long commitment. That's huge because when your team starts to suck, you don't want to play no more. It's no more fun. Trade everybody. I've been there. You play win and how much you want. Deposit now and FanDuel will match it up to $200. Use the promo code COOLER, that's COOLER, and take advantage of free loot to get your game on. FanDuel, where every week is a new season. I'm always saying get with the times. Stop acting like you at your mama house, calling that girl you met at summer camp 2 states away, and your mama screaming out, "I know you better not be talking long distance running up my bill with that little hussy girl." Well, get with the times with your long distance charges. Presenting Univon. Univon offers unlimited worldwide calling to 60 plus countries for $14.99 a month. No contract, no activation fee, and no cancellation fee. Users can call anytime using their mobile phone or home IP phone. So stop flushing money down the drain. Get more details by clicking Univon's link banner on thedugstewartshow.com or the link on the DugStewartShow.com app. Try out Univon and call your peoples like you not at your mama house.
The personal ass kicker of Skip Bayless, Doug Stewart.
That's right. This is the Doug Stewart Show coming to you live from the ATL. And doing these ballers and busters. I mean, what else would we do on this beautiful Monday? Shouts out to you. Hope you had a great weekend. I had a fantastic weekend. Like I said earlier, I need a bacchiotomy because I'm old and decrepit. Knees are shot, hip, back, neck, everything hurt today. Everything hurts today. And but that's okay. We will press on. The number to the show is 404-382-0338. That's the number to the show. You can also email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com. This segment is brought to you by Univon. Great long distance, not like you at your mama house. That's right. So check out Univon by going on my website, The Doug Stewart Show, and clicking on their banner link. All right? 404-382-0338. Got to remind you once again, man, the new Doug Stewart Show app is available right now in the Apple Store. Yes, we're doing it all kinds of ways. So just go download the app and catch up on all the old episodes on the podcast. They've got podcasts available. And then you can also listen to the show live on the Doug Stewart app. So you got all kind of places you can listen to the show. You can listen to the show on Spreaker.com. Spreaker has an app that you can download on your phone. And now I have my own website. Had that from the start of the show, but now I've got the app as well. So go to the App Store and download the app, The Doug Stewart Show, and tell somebody about it. Pass the word about the most fun, the most live, entertaining sports talk show in America. All right, 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. And a tremendous weekend. Before I even jump into this college football, though, shouts out to the Baltimore Orioles and the Kansas City Royals as they advance to the ALCS. Yes! And I mentioned last week, like, it'd be real cool for Baltimore to make it to a World Series, and I'm still, out of those teams, I'm rooting for Baltimore, one, because I know more people in the city of Baltimore. I love their colors. I love the little logo. I love the mascot. And I like Buck Showalter, man. I like to see him turn that organization around, which he pretty much has done. And he's changed the culture there. Nelson Cruz had a big weekend as well. So you got two teams that one of them are going to make it to the World Series who have basically been doormats over the past 20 years. So very good stuff, interesting stuff for those guys as they do make it to the ALCS. All right, some quick talk about college football. It was just a tremendous weekend, and it started off on Thursday with Arizona getting the upset over number 2 Oregon at that time. Okay, so that's one upset. And then you had Ole Miss get the win against Alabama this past weekend, 23-17. Ole Miss now shoots up the rankings as well. And then you had TCU at home against Oklahoma, beating the number 4 team in the country. So big win for those guys. Auburn handled his business against LSU. And then the other big upset, the other incredible upset this past weekend was Mississippi State, the Bulldogs, getting it done against Texas A&M, 48-31. And that's the shock of the weekend, I think. Outside of what happened to Oregon, the shock of the weekend, the real weekend, I'm talking about Saturday and Sunday, is what happened with Mississippi State and Texas A&M. And a lot of the experts were saying that, the big win that Texas A&M had over South Carolina, it was, it really wasn't that great when you looked at the talent and what they had been doing following that win. And we find out now, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, we found out now with South Carolina losing to Missouri last week and this week losing to Kentucky, that South Carolina really isn't that good. And so that win that Texas A&M had is kind of looked at in a different perspective. And they, go into Starkville, Mississippi, and lose 48-21 to Mississippi State. So the top 25 is just turned upside down. Turned upside down. So right now, Florida State sits at number 1. Auburn is at number 2. And then you got at 3 and 4, you got Mississippi State and Ole Miss. Just the state of Mississippi is just on fire right now. I mean, incredible weekend for that state. And, these are two teams that haven't been great over the last couple of years. For the most part, over the last 20 years, they're kind of like the doormats of the SEC. And actually, truthfully, the exact top 25 is, it's not Mississippi State and Ole Miss 3 and 4. Mississippi State and Ole Miss are actually tied for third. They have the same exact amount of votes. But fifth, they're calling Baylor as the 5th team. Mississippi State and Ole Miss are 3 and 3, which is kind of strange when you think about it. But these are two teams in the SEC that pretty much are the teams at the bottom of the totem pole when you look at the SEC over the last couple of years. It's always Florida, and it's always Auburn and Alabama. And Team South Carolina has kind of like been in the middle of the pack, upper tier. But the teams at the bottom have always been Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Now, they're doing fantastic things. It's going to be very interesting to see if they can hold up, because Mississippi State in particular had the huge win over LSU. So they're for real. When you go to Baton Rouge and you beat LSU, and then you have the big win that you did this past weekend, you're the real deal. Ole Miss has been recruiting tremendously. Hugh Freeze down there. And that's one thing about Ole Miss that's kind of interesting to me is the recruiting classes that they've been getting, okay, for kids to come to Oxford, Mississippi, and play for that team when they could, most of these kids could get recruited to other teams in the SEC is very interesting. Keep your eye on Ole Miss, and if the NCAA starts poking their heads around there. Now, I'm not saying Ole Miss is cheating. I'm just saying it's very interesting that a program like Ole Miss can get some of these top-tier players in the country because they've been top 5 recruiting classes over the last couple of years. Just doing the damn thing as far as recruiting. So, that's a little side thing to kind of like tuck away in your brain for a later date if it comes, if the story comes out and investigations are done, because this is a situation where I think the NCAA might want to poke their head in there. I'm serious, and I'm not throwing shade on Mississippi State, on Ole Miss, but it's kind of strange that Ole Miss is getting these blue chip players, these 5-star players, and are dominating teams right now that historically they haven't. And now it does happen that way, that over time teams do get better, and some teams fall off and some get better. And Ole Miss and Mississippi right now, they're on cloud 9 because they are doing it in a real big way. So shouts out to those teams. They both get ball awards. I know I sound like I'm kind of hating on Ole Miss, but damn, I mean, they just stopped waving the rebel flag last year. Yeah, which was a huge deterrent in them getting some of the best players in the country. And I said last year, but I believe like in the mid-'90s, they basically stopped or banned students from bringing rebel flags into the stadium. And they used to play old Dixie, and that was like the theme song for the team. And then they had the Colonel Reb as the mascot, and they got rid of that. So they've been changing and becoming more current with the times. I give them kudos for that. But a real tough history when you're some of the top players in the country and committing to go play for Ole Miss. But once again, Hugh Freeze has turned that program around real fast. Dan Mullen is doing big things in Mississippi State. So shouts out to those guys. They get ball awards for this weekend. Let me read a couple of messages on the chat line, and you are listening to the Doug Stewart Show. The chat line off of Spreaker.com. The Bills won that game with D, and the Lions kicker sucks. Yes, the Bills had a huge win this past weekend over the Detroit Lions, and the Lions just can't get right. They like that dude. They like Bokeem Woodbine on life. He can't get right. They cannot get right. Yes. So big win for the Bills after going to Kyle Orton, benching E.J. Manuel. Obviously, it looks like it was the right move after 1 week, but big win for the Buffalo Bills, so ball award goes to them. And here we go. Jungle Brother says, baller. Cam Newton. Buster goes to anybody thinking the Bulls are better with Orton. And I guess he's talking about the Bills. He misspelled Bills. Yes, I think they clearly it's hard to argue the fact that they are better or not better with Kyle Orton. They got to win. I just talked about that in the last message I read. From Fred Mack, he says, I'm tempted to try FanDuel. Saw a report on ESPN E60. I think dude winning 100,000 plus is going to turn me. That's from Fred. Yes, go to FanDuel. FanDuel is fun. Now, let me say this about FanDuel, and you are listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I think you need to jump on FanDuel by definitely going onto my page and clicking on their banner link and trying it, because a lot of controversy about FanDuel and is it gambling or not, but it was proved not to be gambling because there's skill involved. With gambling, when you bet on a team, a lot of time it's still luck because there's a point spread factored in. But if you know football and you know about matchups, you have a chance. There's some intellect that comes into picking winners or picking good players to put together your fantasy team. So I'm all in on FanDuel, man. Go to my website, The Doug Stewart Show, and click on their banner link and join up with FanDuel, man. Just a lot of fun. You're not tied down each and every week like I am in this damn fantasy league I'm in right now, where my team absolutely sucks. I mean, and I kind of gave you the story of what happened last week. My draft didn't go like I wanted it to go, and we lost again this week. So I really hate my fantasy league I'm in right now, and I know some people are listening that are in my league and talking smack about me and laughing. But damn it, I don't care. I'm trying to win this money in FanDuel, so go to the Doug Stewart show.com on my website and join up for FanDuel. 404-382. My producer's sitting there laughing at me because he has a higher ranked team. I think he's got like one loss, and I'm like 1-4, something crazy like that. It's really bad right now. But go to FanDuel and check them out on my page, The Doug Stewart Show. All right, 404-382-0338. So, man, just an incredible weekend in college football. Big win, especially, let me give a baller award out to Notre Dame. Notre Dame and my homeboy Eric Golston had a huge win as they get it done this past weekend in dramatic fashion. So they get a big win this past weekend over Stanford, 17-14. And last-second heroics by Eric Golston. And he's another guy that's being talked about as far as a Heisman. I think the past weekend was kind of like his Heisman moment where he came back, brought him back, threw the touchdown pass at the end of the game to put Notre Dame ahead. And they're Notre Dame as well, okay? So they're Notre Dame, so they're going to get a lot of press no matter what the situation. And Eric Golston's making the most of his opportunities after coming back from missing last year from a suspension. And so the young man seems like he's got his head on straight. He looks like he's taking his game to the next level. So Ball Award goes to Eric Golston and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And Notre Dame's another one of those teams I always talk about that it's always interesting if Notre Dame's in the conversation. It's always interesting. And so Notre Dame winning is a good thing, a very good thing. All right, this is the Doug Stewart Show. And the number is 404-382-0338. I need Boggs. I need boots on the ground, guys. I want to hear from somebody in Dallas. I want to hear from somebody with Chicago. You had a bitter loss this weekend, Chicago Bears. We'll get into that. Taking all your ballers and your busters. Everything from this weekend in college and pro football. And if you want to talk a little baseball, you can even do that here. Sports talk with hot sauce. Texas Pete hot sauce. It's the Doug Stewart Show. This your folk, Doug Stewart. Want to protect you and your family from life's unexpected mishaps? Then join 7. Join 7 is a prepaid legal company under the umbrella of the Protection Group. Join 7 is the only group benefit or motor club in the U.S. that offers auto reimbursement coverage, key replacement coverage, roadside assistance, gives you a current Medi-file, prescription savings, and a fully encompassed prepaid legal benefit that includes identity theft. They got your back. The average combined cost to purchase these benefits individually is over $850 a year. Join today and take advantage of all 7 for $17 a month. They've been around for over 20 years, so check them out by clicking on the banner link on my page, thedougstewartshow.com, or the app. Just go ahead and join 7. All right, I know the deal. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right, billions with a B. Well, just do it, and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one source, a Facebook shopping application, a mobile-optimized website, and much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on the link on thedougstewartshow.com or the app link for details. The Doug Stewart Show is off and running, but just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk show personalities in America? By the way, that's me. Getting in on the ground floor? Well, call us at 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands nationally and worldwide, shawty. People know me and the Stews brand in these streets. Holla at your folk. Once again, the number is 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Yes!
The Waffle House of Sports Talk Radio, the Doug Stewart Show.
That's right, scattered, smothered, covered, diced, chunked, peppered. That's right, this is the Doug Stewart Show coming to you live from the ATL, and thank you for joining you boys. Really do appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. I said boys just now, like I'm still on the old show, the Two Live Stews. Get all these emails and these texts from people saying, where's Ryan at? Where's Ryan at? Ryan's retired, man. He's done. He's done from competitive sports talking. But we plan to have him on several times throughout the year, trying to get him on at least once a week. So we'll probably have him on at some point this week. But this is the Doug Stewart Show. You can email me, Doug@thedougstewartshow.com, or you're a company out there that like to work with the Doug Stewart Show. We'd love to partner with you. Email me at Doug@thedougstewartshow.com. We are doing big things around here. Every day that we come on, our numbers are better that day than the day before. So people are telling each other, okay? They're telling their friends and their family, and they're getting the word out there. And this is guerrilla marketing at its finest. Spreading the word, pass the word. That's what we're doing around here. All right? Hit me up, 404-382-0338. Ball award goes to Peyton Manning. I mean, come on, man. 500 career touchdown passes. He surpasses this past weekend against the Arizona Cardinals, beating them 41-20. So not only did he throw his 500th touchdown on Sunday, but he also posted his 13th career 400-yard passing game that tied Dan Marino for the most 400-yard passing games in NFL history. That's right. So it's him with his 13th. He passed Dan Marino for his 13th. And then you've got Dan Marino, 13. Peyton Manning at 13. They actually tied. And Drew Brees, 10. So those are the guys that top that list of 400-yard passing games. And what do you say about Peyton Manning? What do you say about Peyton Manning? I mean, where do you rank Peyton Manning in your all-time quarterbacks? And I thought about this before we started the show, and I says, I'm on record. I mean, anybody will tell you that I think the best quarterback to ever play the game is a guy that had a bounce-back game this past weekend in Tom Brady. And I put him slightly over Joe Montana because I think Joe Montana, first of all, Joe Montana doesn't have the numbers that Tom Brady has. But not only that, Joe Montana had better weapons. Now, Joe Montana found a way to win games in clutch situations. Tom Brady has done that. Not so much lately, but still, give me Tom Brady as the all-time greatest quarterback. Then I got Montana second. And I think that if I look back at all the great quarterbacks and what they've done and their history and their accolades, and I think about Dan Marino and Elway and those guys, I think that I would probably put Elway at third, okay? I would put Elway at third, and then I think I would put Peyton Manning. Yeah, I think I would put Peyton Manning fourth. And then you got the conversation about Marino and Warren Moon and guys like that. But yeah, that would be my top four. I think I'd probably go ahead and put Warren Moon at 5. Yes, so at number one, I'd put Tom Brady. Number 2, Joe Montana. Number 3, I would put John Elway. Number 4, Peyton Manning. And number 5 would be Warren Moon. Yeah, because when you start getting into that 5 rank, you're talking about guys that had a ton of yards, great accomplishments, but no Super Bowls. So that's what you're talking about when you're talking about Dan Marino and Warren Moon. But those guys were fantastic every single year. But you got to give Peyton Manning a baller, man. And I know Peyton's career started out kind of rough, and he could never win the big game, and he could never win the big game at Tennessee. But, time changes all of that, okay? And winning a Super Bowl changes all of that. You're put into a different category at that point. And so you got to give Peyton, man, and the numbers that he's got, man, and he looks like he can play another 2 years. And you remember Indianapolis got rid of him because of the neck surgeries, and they thought he was on his last leg. You can't really be mad at him because they had the opportunity to draft the guy who looks like he's the real deal in Andrew Luck, and a guy that we're going to probably be talking about in the same regard as a Peyton Manning or Dan Marino down the road. So you can't get mad at Indy. But, yeah, we thought that he was done. A couple of neck surgeries at that age, yeah. The average person would think that you're done, but he's not done. Okay, taking that Broncos team to a Super Bowl last year, what he's continuing to do right now, stat-wise, and he doesn't have the greatest receivers. Outside of Demaryius Thomas, who's a bona fide baller, he's always had like little slot guys like Wes Welker in New England and or smaller guys like that. Wes Welker, who's now with the Denver Broncos, guys like that, little gadget guys, little possession type receivers guys. He's had that since he's been in Denver. Now he's had some very good receivers, some guys that could stretch the field when he was in Indianapolis, and Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison, but never like a guy like Jerry Rice or John Taylor like Joe Montana had in San Francisco. So great player, fantastic players, slightly better weapons than Tom Brady's had, but you just got to give him credit. I mean, there's just no way you can get around. You got to give him credit. 404-382-0338. Fred Mack says Peyton Manning above Montana. Damn, them Super Bowls. Damn, he's putting Peyton Manning ahead of Joe Montana. I can't do that. I can't do that. Not yet. Now, if he wins another Super Bowl, then we might have the conversation about him being put ahead of Joe Montana. But right now, I just can't do it. From that Ninja says Dan Marino was a better quarterback than all three of those guys. Marino never had a defense or a running back. Brady's first two titles were won by, and I guess he's about to say something about Spygate, but it got cut off. Let me say something about that. The reason why I can't put Manning over Montana and Brady is because of the team efforts of Super Bowls. And you're right. A lot of these times what we talk about is what guys do in their personal stats, but rings do matter. When you're trying to differentiate between one guy with 40,000 yards passing and 400 touchdowns and another guy with 40,000 yards passing and 400 and so many 400-yard passing games, as I talked about a little while ago, between these guys and, Montana and Brady and Elway and all of these guys, something has to be the factor to differentiate them. You understand what I'm saying? And Peyton Manning has what? One Super Bowl, okay? And Tom Brady has 3. Joe Montana has 3, I believe. So they count. I mean, they count. And if you look back, I kind of gave Peyton Manning a pass about the infutility early in his career, not being able to win the big games. But I'm giving him a pass because he's done so much since then. But at the same time, you can't forget it. You can't forget that he's come up short in big games. Oh my gosh, the Patriots and Ty Law, they had Peyton's number, early in his career. So, I'm giving him due, but you just can't forget about the fact that he was very, very little in big time situations. So I'm putting him in my top 5. I think that says a lot. You, that ninja, like Peyton Manning, you think he's one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever do it. You think he's better than the 3 guys I had in my little list earlier? We differ on opinion. We can agree to disagree. 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. Ball award goes to the Carolina Panthers in a huge come-from-behind win over the Chicago Bears. And I just can't figure out the Bears, but the Panthers, great win. Cam Newton, fantastic. And what they did is they switched to a no-huddle. Cam went 19 for 35, 255 yards through 2 touchdown passes and 1 interception. And maybe they're going to have to stick with that. Yeah, maybe they're going to have to stick with that because it worked. And the Panthers right now are fighting and they're scrapping and they're scraping. 3-2 record right now. Huge win over the Chicago Bears. The Bears are 2-3. And the Bears early in the year looked like they were going to be a team that contended for a Super Bowl. But no, that's not the case. That's not the case. When they got the huge win over San Francisco, I believe it was. And I think they came from behind and beat the Jets. But the Bears right now are struggling. The Bears are struggling. They go down to Carolina 31-24, and Jay Cutler. They got all these receivers and Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffries, but there's something wrong with the Bear culturally, I think. It's just something wrong with them. I don't know what it is with the Bears, but they up and they're down. They're too inconsistent. They're very fickle. So I think you got to sell on, if you're a Bears fan, you got to sell on the Bears and their chances of having a good run down the stretch, and I don't know what it is. Defensively, kind of shaky. Offensively, you think they're one of the best teams in the league, but they haven't put up the type of points that you have seen from some of these other teams like the Cowboys and the Falcons, scoring 17 points against Green Bay last week. Very little points against the the San Francisco 49ers as well in a win still, but this offense should be putting up 30 points a game at least, and they're not doing it. And just not doing it. So, ball award, though, goes to the Carolina Panthers. All right, the number to the show is 404-382-0338. That's the number to the show, 404-382-0338. I need Boggs. I need boots on the ground guys. How about a boots on the ground guy in Chicago? I need a Chicago fan to call up and say, and talk about what the fans for the Bears are saying, because right now, the Bears are struggling. How about somebody in Carolina? How about this big win? The defense isn't showing up like they did last year. One of the top defenses in the game. So if you're a Panther fan, do you believe in Cam Newton? And Cam, do you trust? Do you believe in this team? So we'll get to all of that. Grab more of your calls. Talk about some of these NFL games from this past weekend. All your ballers and your busters on the Doug Stewart Show. Don't go anywhere. So you think you're a fantasy whiz, huh? Well, prove it and make some nice scratch at the same time. Scratch is money. What you know about FanDuel? FanDuel packs the thrill of a whole season in 1 week. Play in 1 week fantasy football leagues for free money with immediate cash payouts. The money is real with no season-long commitment. That's huge because when your team starts to suck, you don't want to play no more. It's no more fun. Trade everybody. I've been there. You play win and how much you want. Deposit now and FanDuel will match it up to $200. Use the promo code COOLER, that's COOLER, and take advantage of free loot to get your game on. FanDuel, where every week is a new season. The Doug Stewart Show is off and running. But just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk dudes in America? By the way, I'm talking about myself. Getting in on the ground floor? Well, call us at 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands nationally and worldwide, shawty, people know me and the Stews brand in these streets. Holla at your boy. Once again, the number is 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com. What is 911 Tax Relief? It's a tax relief company that can help you reduce or remove your IRS or state tax debt. They'll help stop bank levies and wage garnishments by implementing offers in compromise or penalty abatements. 911 Tax Relief is a tax relief company, but they're different from the others. Their experts are licensed, enrolled tax agents, and they also have more than 12 years experience helping people solve their tax problems. They're a tax relief company that understands how the IRS works, and they'll also put that knowledge to work for you so they can get you the best possible settlements or solutions to your tax problems. Highly rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they've also helped thousands of people, thousands, solve their tax problems. So don't play around. Click on their link on my website, thedugstewartshow.com, and let 911 Tax Relief help you in your situation with our uncle. You know, Uncle Sam.
Talk show in America, the Doug Stewart Show.
That's right, the realest, trillest sports talk show in America. This is the Doug Stewart Show. All over the place on Spreaker.com, on the DougStewartShow.com. We got apps with both formats. You can hear the show no matter where you're at. And so tell people about the livest, most interactive show online, on radio, whatever the hell. It don't matter what the title is. You can hear me all over the world in Timbuktu. Wherever the hell Timbuktu is, yeah, whenever you refer to some place that's far, yeah, you say Timbuktu. You can hear me in Timbuktu, shorty. Yes! Yes! Oh, shit. This segment is brought to you by Join 7. Protect against mishaps. Join 7. So go to my website, The Doug Stewart Show, and click on their banner link and check out Join 7. All right. You know what? Buster Award goes to Jimmy Johnson. Let me tell you why I'm giving Jimmy Johnson a Buster Award. I'm giving Jimmy Johnson a Buster Award because he came up with that phrase, How about them Cowboys? Yes. Yes. Boo to Jimmy Johnson. Because whenever the stinking Dallas Cowboys win a game, especially in dramatic fashion, I get like 1 million hits on my timeline. How about them Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? Man, damn the Cowboys, man. What y'all are doing is miraculous. I'll give it to you. It's miraculous. But do you really want to start pumping your chest about the Dallas Cowboys? Do you really believe this team is as good as this record says, 4-1? And I know some of you Cowboy fans out there saying, well, Bill Parcells summed it up best. You are what your record is. Not always the case. Sometimes your record lies. All right? and I wouldn't be shocked. Okay? I wouldn't be shocked. And I'm not wishing this on the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, seriously. I'm not wishing this on them. I almost can see the Cowboys going on one of those historic losing streaks and losing like 7 or 8 games in a row. Like, I can see that happen. Bookmark this show, okay? Bookmark that show. And if that happens, then check back with me. Because, I mean, the way you're winning is just like, it's absolutely incredible the way Dallas is winning these games. The come from behind win against the St. Louis Rams. That was BS, okay? Yesterday was, even though they were ahead and the Texans came back and tied it, but even the win yesterday was BS. I mentioned earlier, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, I mentioned earlier how Tony Romo threw up 2 like Hail Marys. He did. He threw up 2 Hail Marys, okay? Both caught by Dez Bryant, one in the end zone and one at the end of the game to get in field goal range to kick the go-ahead win field goal in overtime. So, damn. If I see one more, how about them Cowboys on my timeline, I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to blow my own head off. Yes. I'm so sick of it. And then when the Cowboy fans, when Romo does what he normally does, okay, then they be quiet. It's like that meme with Chris Tucker about Debo on Friday. When the Cowboys fans lose, I be quiet. But when they win, I'll be talking again. Yes, that's how the Cowboy fans are. And I know they get under everybody's skin. America's team and Jerry Jones dancing in the press box yesterday. Oh, my gosh. Here's some chat from Fred Mack. He says, Montana has 4 Super Bowls, but eye test clearly shows he can't throw that thing like Manning or Marino. Yeah. One thing you can't say about, definitively about Joe Montana is Joe Montana is not the biggest guy in the world, didn't have the biggest arm in the world. A lot of people will argue with you, and this is a conversation we had in the last segment if you're just joining me. And I gave my top 5 quarterbacks of all time. And that my list is a list of guys that I would take if I had my choice. And I tell people all the time, when I'm putting together these lists, I'm talking about if I'm on a playground and you got 5 guys right there, and you got all of the greatest quarterbacks in the world, and where I would draft them at which point would I pick said quarterback to run my offense, to run my team. And so my order is Joe Montana, number 1. Number 2 is Joe Montana, number 2, actually. Tom Brady, number 1. Joe Montana, number 2. Number 3, I've got John Elway. Number 4, I've got Peyton Manning, especially with all the stats and what he's done in his career. And number 5, I've got Warren Moon. And all of those guys have a bigger arm, per se, than Joe Montana. But Joe Montana had something that a lot of those guys don't have, and something that Tony Romo wished that he could buy a little bit of. And that's moxie. Yes. And that's clutchness. Okay. If Tony Romo had a 10th of the clutchness of Joe Montana, he'd be a all-timer. He would be, but he doesn't. And so that's why I have my list the way that I have. 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. James Cooper says, baller Peyton Manning, Buster, Brady Hoke. Yes, as the Michigan Wolverines lose this past weekend against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, or whatever the hell they are. Aren't they Scarlet Knights? I have no clue. I think they're Scarlet Knights because Rutgers traditionally has sucked. Now, they've done much better over the last 5 years or so. They're eons better than their history over the last 30 years. One of the worst programs in college football, but still, I don't care how much better they've gotten over the last couple of years. Michigan should not lose to Rutgers. They shouldn't. It just shouldn't happen. And so that's what you saw this past weekend. Brady Hoke is just like lame duck supreme. There's no way he's going to keep the job. And that's kind of like why I almost think that I wouldn't have a problem, and I don't think fans would have a problem if they just got rid of him right now. Because what's the purpose of them keeping him around? And you never really see that in college football where they fire a guy in the middle of the season. But I think this may be a case that warrants it. Yeah, what's the point? Everybody and their mama knows that Brady Hoke's not going to be the coach at Michigan next year. So you might as well go ahead and make the move. All right, 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. The Atlanta Falcons, and a real bitter one this past weekend as they lose to the New York Football Giants 30-20. Our own Georgia Bulldogs, they get a win this past weekend. Nothing really to write home about. 44-17 over Vanderbilt in Athens. That's to be expected. Big story there is Todd Gurley. He does the damn thing once again. Big, huge day for Todd Gurley as he rushes for 163 yards. Big game for him. And Georgia Tech Ball Award, shots out and Ball Award to Georgia Tech as they get a win for the first time in 6 tries against the Miami Hurricanes. So shouts out to Paul Johnson. It is what it is. Not a big day passing. They didn't really even throw the ball. They only threw the ball 7 times for Georgia Tech. Justin Thomas, 4 for 7, 53 yards. The big story for Georgia Tech was the outing, probably the best outing for Zach Lasky. He had 29 carries, 133 yards, pounding type fullback, running back for Georgia Tech. And they're 5-0. Now, Georgia Tech is 5-0 right now, 2-0 in the ACC. They've already got 2 ACC wins. The problem is their offense is less to be desired. As I just mentioned, they only throw the ball like 5 or 6 times a game. So they come in at number 22 after not being ranked last week, which was crazy that they were 4-0. Georgia Tech has some great history. Okay, Georgia Tech has some great history. People forget about the national championship in 1990. Georgia Tech, and a lot of times I always question why is it Georgia Tech can't get better teams or have better continuity. They're in the city of Atlanta. These kids would love or should love to come and play in downtown ATL as compared to Athens or some of these other small college towns. But it's not the case. For some reason, they can't, the coach right now is, I think, probably restricting the type of athlete that he can get because nobody wants to play in that triple option offense if they're trying to go to the next level. So that's a problem in itself. But I've always thought Georgia Tech should be more consistent and a better team on the national scene, okay? Because they've got great history and, Heisman Trophy winners and national championships and Bobby Ross and great coaches and some great players that have went on to play in the NFL, but it's just not come to fruition. But Georgia Tech cracks the top 25 at number 22, 5-0. And like I said earlier, like 8-9 teams ahead of them, including Nebraska, with 1 loss, including Nebraska, Arizona State. East Carolina is even ahead of Georgia Tech. Yes. And which is kind of crazy to me. East Carolina lost to South Carolina. They played them real tough. But I think they had a great win over North Carolina. Played some other teams really good as well. But East Carolina with a 4-1 record shouldn't be ranked higher than Georgia Tech. But that tells you what the voters feel about Georgia Tech in that offense. I mean, it's as simple as that. Then you've got UCLA, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Ohio State, Texas A&M, Georgia, and Oregon, all with 1 loss, and Oklahoma as well, all with 1 loss, but ahead of a 5-0 Georgia Tech team. So that'll kind of give you an idea of what the voters and what people in college football in the know feel about Georgia Tech. And you wouldn't be shocked to see them lose a couple of games going forth in the year. I'm hoping not. I'm rooting for Georgia Tech. Obviously, Georgia Tech is a big part of my family, okay? Little brother Ryan Stewart went there, recruited there by a bunch of schools in the country and ended up going to Georgia Tech. And I think me coming and visiting him and seeing the city of Atlanta and going to Magic City, yeah, going to Freaknik, probably influenced me to come and move to the city as well in some kind of way. So I'm always rooting for the home teams no matter what. Georgia Tech, Georgia, and the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons had a tough loss this weekend, and they gotta figure some things out real fast. I just think they don't have the personnel on defense right now to contend and to make a run for a Super Bowl. I think they might squeak in maybe with a 9-7 record right now, but it's just going to be tough on the Falcons with that defense. The defense can't stop nobody. I mean, seriously, they can't stop anybody. You're pretty much guaranteed to score in the high 20s, low 30s when you're playing against the Atlanta Falcons. Let's look at some of their losses. The Saints scored 34 points to them, even though the Falcons won that game. Cincinnati only scored 24 points against them. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, obviously in the huge win for the Falcons, they only scored 14. But the last couple of weeks on the road, you lost 41-28, gave up 41 points to the Minnesota Vikings. You gave up 30 points to the Giants this past weekend. The Falcons' record on the road is miserable. I think they're 1-10 in their last 10 games on the road. So really just a tough time for the Falcons. A very tough time for the Falcons. This segment is brought to you by 911 Tax Relief. Get Uncle Sam off your back. Go to thedougstewartshow.com and click on their banner link. And if you've got tax problems, you don't want to be in that position. You just don't want to be in it. I've heard horror stories, knock on wood. I've never really had any long dialogue with Sam. I had one instance a while back that I've talked about where they inquired about something. They wanted some more records, and I sent it to them overnight express. Here you go, and took care of it. But you just don't want to mess with that dude. So go to my website, thedougstewartshow.com, click on their banner link, 911 Tax Relief, and they will help you negotiate some settlements and get you out of that situation with Uncle Sam. You just don't want to be in that situation. All right? 404-382-0338. 404-382-0338. Bust to the South Central in the Stews Fantasy League. Now the team just can't get right. Now that's the team that just can't get right. Looks like I'm headed to 1-4. That's from Fred Mack. He's in the fantasy league for the Stews. And yeah, my team is, I think, 1-4 right now, too. We suck. We absolutely suck right now. And I don't know. We got to get out of this funk. But I've been doing damn good in FanDuel. That's right. I've been doing damn good. Shouts out to FanDuel. Go to my website, thedougstewartshow.com, and getting some of this fantasy action. Get some of this fantasy action. Like Black Jesus says. Come get some of this fantasy action on FanDuel. All right, up next on the Doug Stewart Show. Still taking your ballers and your busters, reading your tweets. I'm going to read some tweets on the Doug Stewart Show on Twitter. I'm going to read some of the tweets people have been shooting me about this past weekend and their ballers and their busters. Shouts out to the state of Mississippi. M-I, crooked letter I. Crooked letter I. Humpback I. Y'all did the damn thing this weekend. Some huge wins. Huge wins over Texas A&M and Alabama. So we'll get more into that. Grab more of your calls. Read some of your tweets. It's the Doug Stewart Show. The Doug Stewart Show is off and running. But just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk show personalities in America? By the way, that's me. Getting in on the ground floor? Well, call us at 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands nationally and worldwide, shawty. People know me and the Stews brand in these streets. Holla at your folk. Once again, the number is 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Yes! This your folk, Doug Stewart. Want to protect you and your family from life's unexpected mishaps? Then join 7. Join 7 is a prepaid legal company under the umbrella of the Protection Group. Join 7 is the only group benefit or motor club in the U.S. that offers auto reimbursement coverage, key replacement coverage, roadside assistance, gives you a current Medi-file, prescription savings, and a fully encompassed prepaid legal benefit that includes identity theft. They got your back. The average combined cost to purchase these benefits individually is over $850 a year. Join today and take advantage of all 7
for $17 a month. They've been around for over 20 years, so check them out by clicking on the banner link on my page, thedougstewartshow.com, or the app. Just go ahead and join 7. I'm always saying get with the times. Stop acting like you at your mama house, calling that girl you met at summer camp 2 states away, and your mama screaming out, "I know you better not be talking long distance running up my bill with that little hussy girl." Well, get with the times with your long distance charges. Presenting Univon. Univon offers unlimited worldwide calling to 60 plus countries for $14.99 a month. No contract, no activation fee, and no cancellation fee. Users can call anytime using their mobile phone or home IP phone. So stop flushing money down the drain. Get more details by clicking Univon's link banner on thedougstewartshow.com or the link on the thedougstewartshow.com app. Try out Univon and call your peoples like you not at your mama house.
This is the Doug Stewart Show, live and in effect from the ATL. Thank you for joining you, boys. I said boys again. It's the second time I've done that today. I really wasn't doing that a lot last week, and I knew, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, I knew that when I started to do this show that I was going to have some mishaps where I, went out on breaks and came back from breaks and said things that were Two Live Stews centric, like boys, and I actually said Two Live Stews a couple of times. Damn it! I said those same phrases for over a decade. Give me a break. Give me a break. Yeah. So we're going to have those mishaps, and I'm going to harken back to the days of the Two Live Stews. But it is what it is. All right, you are listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you for joining your folk. I really do appreciate it. You can email me, Doug@thedougstewartshow.com. And you can also hit me on Twitter at the Doug Stewart Show on Twitter. Thank you to everybody that came out this past weekend to the Classic Party. I just got the photos this morning. So I'm going to post some of the pictures from the big event that I had this past weekend for the Atlanta Classic. The party was Friday night. Fantastic ton of people. Saw a ton of folks that I hadn't seen in a long time. So I had a great weekend. Fantastic weekend. The only thing is this weekend was the first time that I can really remember in my life where I couldn't do it after that one night, And I'm about to turn 45 years old, and clearly I can't do it like I used to. But this weekend really hurt. And like right now, it feels like somebody just kicked me in my back. Like, I don't know, an MMA champ, like John Bones Jones just like kneed me in the small of my back. And I didn't even go out Saturday night. I didn't. And all my people in town, I saw everybody Friday night, so I figured it's all good. I can just relax because I'm dead ass tired. After the game Saturday, in which them Bulldogs win, shouts out to the South Carolina State Bulldogs. Shout out North Carolina A&T. I think I gave them a ball of the day. So, we won the game against A&T, and then afterwards we went and we tailgated. Me and the wife and her friends went and tailgated with some of the bros across the street from the Georgia Dome. And shouts out to my man Baco, 86 bros, Zyside, do or die Zyside. And so he set out all of the food and the alcohol and the brew. And so had a great weekend and great night, great day. And then I went home and thought about going out, said I was going to go out, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. Laid down and put my head on a pillow. That was my problem. I shouldn't have done that. I just shouldn't have done that. But I laid down for half a second. Next thing I know, I had taken a 2-hour nap. Okay? And it was like 10:30. And I was like, well, let me get up here. And then my back said, no, you're not. No, the hell you ain't. And so I sat back down, and that was it. I just watched some West Coast football and didn't do nothing. Just sat there, cracked open a little brew, and that was it. I was done. Ball Award, though, once again, goes to South Carolina State football team. But Buster Award, man, goes to the band. And I don't think I've ever given a band to the Marching 101 in my life. We got to have a talk with this band director because he didn't show out this weekend. They did some little cute thing at the game. They were honoring Hank Aaron. And everybody's now doing these moving formations like Ohio State did I think it was Ohio State that did the moving formation with the members, like Michael Jackson doing the moonwalk. So South Carolina State did this thing. Hank Aaron was on the field, and he's supposed to be part of the ongoing promotions of the event now, the Atlanta Classic. So Hank Aaron came out there and said some words of encouragement earlier, and then so at halftime we come out with this baseball bat formation, like we were a baseball bat, and another part of the band, we're supposed to be a ball, and the bat hit the ball, and that was it. But we did no dancing, we did no funky chickens, we did no break dancing. That's what we do. And we didn't do it this weekend. And A&T, I got to give A&T a ball award for their band. Their band was good this weekend. And now listen, when you're talking about the scope of the great bands in HBCU football, A&T isn't one of those. They really aren't talking about it. So this year was out of the norm. They got it this year. I'm going to give y'all credit. I'm going to give y'all a ball award. Y'all got it this year for the band. And when you talk about the great bands, you're talking about FAMU, obviously. You're talking about South Carolina State. You're talking about Southern. You're talking about Grambling. But, Tennessee State has a good one. There's a lot of smaller ones in smaller divisions. But, we the big boys. We're supposed to show out, We're supposed to show out, and we didn't do it this weekend, so I'm kind of disgusted about that. All right, 404-382-0338, and this segment is brought to you by FanDuel, one-day fantasy sports for as low as $1. Go on my website, The Doug Stewart Show, and click on their banner link. Here's a text from Mike. Keep talking to Live Stews and Long and Stew on radio. I'm happy still. Miss one Live Stew, though hope to hear from him on a regular basis. Appreciate it, Mike. Yeah, one stew is better than no stew. I got to keep hammering that home. One stew is better than no stew. We wish we could have two stews, but one stew is better than no stew. You're going to get the real deal, real hot sports talk, real opinions that you usually don't hear anywhere else. Everywhere else is really watered down, especially these guys that work for the Puppet Factory. They can't give their real opinions like they want to. So, but on this show, you'll be able to do it. Really hadn't had any big controversial things happen in the world of sports ever since I started a couple of weeks ago. Man, I really wish I could have been on radio about a month and a half ago or a month ago when all of this hot and heavy stuff was going on in the NFL. But guess what? These athletes, they make their own stories, and at some point, something's going to happen. Something controversial is going to happen, and we're going to keep it real in the show and talk about it and get into it. All right? 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. The Pittsburgh Steelers got a win over the Jacksonville Jaguars, a much-needed win because they've been struggling up and down. They go on the road and beat the Jaguars 17-9, so that's a game they're supposed to win. No big deal there. But the fact that they got it and they didn't have an upset and they didn't fold under pressure is the big story in that. Then you also had this past weekend the New Orleans Saints with a 37-31 win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's supposed to happen, but they let Tampa Bay get 31 points with the Glennon kid at quarterback right now, so that's not a good look as well. And then, how about this? The Cleveland Browns with a 29-28 victory over the Tennessee Titans. And this was the biggest road come-from-behind win in NFL history. In NFL history. Now, that's saying a lot. And you know about the Music City Miracle with the Titans, but that was home. The Cleveland Browns and Brian Hoyer come back from 28-3 and win 29-3 or 29-28, excuse me. In a huge win, and Brian Hoyer just continues to amaze. Like, are you kidding me? Keeping Johnny Manziel on the bench. So Hoyer goes 21 for 37, 292 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. I mean, what do you say? Despite carrying an 18-point lead into halftime, the Titans actually dropped back to pass more often in the second half than in the first. So what that's saying to you is the Titans ran 11 times by design in the second half Sunday, averaging 2.6 yards per rush. What they're saying is, stupid is, stupid does. You up by 18 points and you throw the ball more in the second half? That's not a good look. That's not a good look. And you end up losing the game. Yes, to the Cleveland Browns. Is Cleveland sports having a resurgence right now? I mean, damn, they're about to be one of the best teams in basketball coming up this season with LeBron James and Kyrie Irving and all the pieces that they've added to that Cavaliers team. So they're going to be balling out of control this year. And then now the Cleveland Browns are respectable 2-2. Anything with a win or two is respectable if you're the Cleveland Browns. So right now, they got 2 wins. The Browns are 2-2. So shots out to the Cleveland Browns. Let's talk to T from Huntsville. T, thanks for calling the Doug Stewart Show. What you got, T?
Sure, what's happening?
What up, baby? How you doing?
And having a good day after that great football Saturday, man. Enjoying the show as always, man.
That's what's up.
I'd like to give a baller to that to this past football college Saturday, just period, man. Because there was a lot of great games, a lot of great upsets.
Yeah, fantastic weekend, man, in college football.
Oh, go ahead. I'm bad. Go ahead, man.
No, that was a fantastic weekend in college football.
Yes, sir. Agreed. I'd like to give a baller to the Ohio State University because we're turning our season around. And I have to turn right back around and give a buster to us because we never should have lost to West Virginia in the first place. Right after we lost to them, they lost 2 more games, so they're probably out of there for the national picture.
Yeah.
I'd like to give a baller to Auburn University because in the weekend where a lot of teams lost, they handled business and stomped LSU out. And I'd like to give a buster to whoever does the rankings. Florida State can't be ahead of Auburn. I know they beat them last year, but the schedule, man, Florida State plays nobody, and they're struggling playing nobody. At least when Auburn struggles at playing somebody, and they still got to play Michigan State, I think, Alabama, still got to play Georgia. So for them to be ranked behind a team like Florida State is ridiculous to me.
Yeah, good point. But the thing about it is this, man, is that you can take rejoice in is the fact that they got the playoff system this year. And as it stands right now, Auburn is in the playoff. Okay, and you're right. And the margin points between Florida State and Auburn is minuscule. It's only 2 points. Florida State with 1,461 points and Auburn with 1,459 points right now. So Auburn's going to handle their business. They're going to get their opportunity, man, if they keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah, you're right about that. They keep winning. They can't deny. One more baller, man, to 2 schools in Mississippi, Ole Miss and Mississippi State. They got to give them credit for turning their teams around, fixing their programs, and making their way into the top 10.
That's what's up.
I also have to give I got to give a buster to the state of Mississippi as a whole, just for morbid obesity and lack of teeth.
Appreciate the call, T. How you go there, man? How you go with morbid obesity? I mean, damn, man, you really put a damper on today's show with that. But I get what you're saying. Like, Mississippi is like the most obese state in the country. I mean, they eat good down there. A lot of barbecue, a lot of pig down there in Mississippi. All right, up next on the Doug Stewart Show, more of your calls, more balls and busters, more of your tweets, read more of your chat. That's what we're doing, man. A fun football Monday. That's right. And a ball and buster Monday as well. So let's keep it locked. Don't go anywhere. The Doug Stewart Show.
The Doug Stewart Show is off and running. But just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk show personalities in America? By the way, that's me. Getting in on the ground floor? Well, call us at 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands nationally and worldwide, shawty. People know me and the Stews brand in these streets. Holla at your boat. Once again, the number is 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com. Yes! I'm always saying get with the times. Stop acting like you at your mama house, calling that girl you met at summer camp 2 states away, and your mama screaming out, I know you better not be talking long distance on that phone running up my bill with that old hussy. Well, get with the times with your long distance charges. Presenting Univon. Univon offers unlimited worldwide calling to 60-plus countries for $14.99 a month. No contract, no activation fee, and no cancellation fee. Users can call anytime using their mobile phone or home IP phone. So stop flushing money down the drain. Get more details by clicking Univon's link banner on thedugstewartshow.com or the link on the DougStewartShow.com app. Try out Univon and call your people like you not at your mama house. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right, billions with a B. Well, just do it and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one console, a Facebook shopping application, a mobile-optimized website, and much, much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on their link on thedugstewartshow.com or the app link for details.
He's nobody's sports talk puppet. The Doug Stewart Show.
That's right. This is the Doug Stewart Show, and nobody's puppet around here. Thank you for joining your boy. Yes. And this is a Ballers and Busters Monday, and just a tremendous weekend in the world of sports. College, the pros as well. Tough weekend for the Atlanta Falcons. Great weekend for the Georgia Bulldogs. Fantastic weekend for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. I know Paul Johnson, head coach of the Yellow Jackets, is like, saying, "I told you so." Kicking up his heels right now as the Jackets are 5-0 to start the season. Coming to the top 25 for the first time this year. Ball award goes out to the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Great weekend in college football. Ole Miss and Mississippi on fire. Big time wins this past weekend over Alabama and Texas A&M. And subsequently, a couple of guys taking hits on the chances for the Heisman Trophy. And it's early in the year, and a lot of things have to happen. But the Heisman race was shuffled a little bit this past weekend because of some things that happened. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. The number is 404-382-0338. That's the number to the show. So I'm looking at ESPN.com's Heisman race right now and who they project as the favorites to win the Heisman Trophy. And so number one, they have Todd Gurley, which is good. Todd Gurley balled out of control this past weekend against Vanderbilt, had 163 yards, and did what he has pretty much done ever since he's been at Georgia. So they have him at number one. I like to see that. But they still have Marcus Mariota at number two, okay, after the tremendously bad loss this past weekend. He passed for 276, but they lost at home against Arizona. That was an ugly, ugly loss for them. So I think he's, they have the little arrows going side to side, which means he's not going up or he's not going down, which I don't think is good. He had a crucial fumble in that game. I think that his arrow should be going down a little bit at least. Then they've got number three, Amari Cooper, the wide receiver for the Alabama Crimson Tide. As good as Amari Cooper's playing, they're not going to give the Heisman Trophy to a wide receiver. I mean, seriously. And I'm trying to think, has there ever been a wide receiver to win the Heisman? I don't think so. What was the little scat? He was kind of like a scat type, utility type player that played for Florida State back in the day. He wore number 9. Peter Warrick. Yes. Peter Warrick, I think, came in kind of high in that. I remember when Keyshawn came out, I think Keyshawn came in like second or third place. I'm not even sure if I remember Calvin Johnson being invited to the ceremony. It's been dominated by quarterbacks over the last couple of years. So Amari Cooper, they have a little sideways arrow on him. This past weekend, he had 9 catches for 91 yards, no touchdowns as they go down, as they lose this past weekend. So they have him like sideways. Then they also have number 4, Amir Abdullah, the running back for Nebraska. He didn't have a great game as well. Was held to 48 yards rushing, and the loss to Michigan State. So they have his arrow going down, and then they also have Kenny Hill's arrow going down. Yeah. Kenny Hill's arrow went down as well, as they have the tough loss. The tough loss this past weekend to Mississippi State as they go down in dramatic fashion. And his numbers were pretty decent, though. They were pretty decent. 365 yards, 4 touchdowns, but 3 crucial interceptions. So his stock is definitely down as well, which is crazy to me that they don't have Everett Golston, and I mentioned him a little bit earlier, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. They don't have him like in this top 5. Everett Golston just continues to win. I mean, damn, the guys win, and they also don't have Jameis Winston. So I guess everybody's down on him because of the whole cussing scandal. And then all of the issues that he's had over the last couple of years. I guess they're feeling like voters aren't going to vote for him to that degree. So, but Jameis Winston not really in the conversation, as well as Everett Golson not really in the conversation. I don't know about that. I don't get that at all. Dak Prescott, the quarterback from Mississippi State, is one of those honorable mentions in the conversation right now as well. Let's see. Tim Brown. Tim Brown won the award. That's right. This is from Kendall. Kendall, thanks for that. Yes, Tim Brown, the great Tim Brown from Notre Dame, won the Heisman Trophy, as well as another guy I'm thinking about right now is Desmond Howard. Desmond Howard won the Heisman Trophy as well. But those guys they weren't all just wide receivers. Those guys were utility guys in its honest form. Those guys returned kicks, they returned punts. So they were more multi-dimensional than what you see right now from Amari Cooper. Now, Amari Cooper is a dynamic player, but really, when you talk about Amari Cooper, you're talking about a straight wide receiver. But yeah, Tim Brown, who played wide receiver in the NFL, and Desmond Howard both played wide receiver in the NFL. They both won the Heisman. Thank you for that, guys. See, that's what I'm talking about with this chat. I couldn't remember off the top of my head if a wide receiver had won the Heisman. Let's put it like this. This is going to be real tough for Amari Cooper, especially after Alabama losing this past weekend to Ole Miss. It's going to be very tough for Amari Cooper to win the Heisman Trophy. They got him on this list, but I don't think he should be ahead of Everett Golson or even Jameis Winston at this point. 404-382-0338 is the number to the show, 404-382-0338. And that ninja said Nick Marshall should be in the discussion as well, and I agree. Nick Marshall should be in the discussion as well, quarterback for the Auburn Tigers, continuing to win. A guy that I think that he is probably going to start to get some conversation. I'm looking on this honorable mention list as far as the polls for the Heisman right now. And remember, it's still early, but they don't even have Nick Marshall on this list at all. They don't. On this side list of guys under the top 5 that I mentioned earlier, which was Gurley, Mariota, Cooper, Abdullah, and Kenny Hill. Then they've got Everett Golson. They've got Melvin Gordon, the running back from Wisconsin. Taysom Hill, the quarterback from BYU, who I believe broke his leg this weekend. Dak Prescott, the quarterback from Mississippi State. Yeah, but they don't have Nick Marshall in there. So I don't get that at all. It's still early. Still got time to do big things and make an impact and get on these lists. But yeah, I don't understand this voting. And a lot of times these votings for the Heisman Trophy is very political to say the least. And it's about who's hot, and it's about whose team you're on, and it's about the offense that you run, because a defensive player pretty much isn't going to win it. So it's about what you do offensively, about what the coaches let you do statistic-wise. You could be blowing out a team and add to your stats and add to your hype, but if your coach wants to sit you, it doesn't matter. If you don't get the opportunity to make the plays and do big things, that comes into play as well. So a lot of time left on the Heisman Trophy. I just don't agree with how they have this thing structured right now as far as the favorites. All right, 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. Can somebody hit me up on the chat room or on Twitter and tell me what do you think about the new Denzel movie, the new Denzel Washington movie? I think it came out last week or maybe even the week before, but I'm going to go and try to see it today. They have these little specials in my area when you come see a movie on Monday and on Tuesday. So I'm thinking about going to see it, and there's really no reason why I wouldn't go to see any Denzel Washington movie. I usually go see all those on the first night, but just been so busy, didn't have the opportunity to go see it yet. Somebody hit me very quickly and tell me, was it thumbs up or thumbs down on Denzel Washington, his new movie? I can't even remember the name of it right now, but is it good? Is it bad? I'll get kind of like a survey from a couple of people. Not going to listen to just one person, but I'll get a survey from a couple of people and tell me if it's good, if it's worth me going to spend $70 on, because that's what it ends up being, about $70. All right, and with popcorn and big ass drink that I don't even want. And why do they even do that? And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I want a small drink. The small drink is like 80 ounces. I don't want this. Give me another option. Give me an option with 12 ounces, or just sell me a can of soda. Don't make me buy your small, which is 89 ounces, and I'm only going to drink a couple of sips of it because I've been trying to stop drinking all this soda. And, they force you to drink big-ass sodas. I don't want that. I love the movies, but I don't love how they pimp you with this popcorn. They got like an 8,000% markup on popcorn. I read an article a couple of years ago on the popcorn, but it's almost like routine with me. Like I have to have popcorn to go to a movie. Yeah, I have to. And I'm going to go see the movie, but damn, I hate spending, half of my damn bank account, to go see a movie. 404-382-0338. And if it's a bad movie, if it's not a good movie, I'll definitely wait till it comes out on demand, so tell me how the new Denzel movie is. Denzel really doesn't make a bad movie. So I'm expecting people to tell me, there we go. Here's a text message, and you can text your boy at 770-847-0536. Says, pretty good movie, Doug. Not his best. All right, that's one for okay. I guess I'll put that in the okay category. 404-382-0338. This is the Doug Stewart Show. How was your weekend? What'd you watch? Who are your ballers? Who are your busters from this past weekend? I mean, this one of the greatest weekends in college football history, probably. I mean, you had so many upsets and teams that were supposed to win a national championship. But I'll tell you one thing it does do with all these top teams getting beat is it brings everybody back to the pack. So now Georgia feels like that they're still in the conversation. Even though they're ranked 13th in the country, they've got one loss like the majority of these teams. Notre Dame, Baylor, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Auburn are the only teams that are undefeated, But, you could definitely see one of those teams or a couple of those teams getting one L or two. So, teams like Georgia and Oklahoma who lost this past weekend and Texas A&M who have the one loss, you start quantifying losses compared to wins and the team who they beat, like the Texas A&M win against South Carolina. It doesn't look that great right now because South Carolina is borderline a team that sucks, and losing to Kentucky this past weekend, losing to Missouri last week, they aren't as tough as they looked or as tough as we thought they were at the start of the season. That win that Texas A&M has when they blew out South Carolina on the road, it doesn't shine as much now. It just doesn't shine as much now. So that's what you're factoring in. So all of these teams are coming back to the pack. And we got some intrigue right now in college football, and I absolutely love it. Yes! Oh, man. Only sad part about it is we're about halfway through the season right now. And at some point real soon, there's not going to be any college football. That makes me kind of sad. All right, up next on the Doug Stewart Show, we'll grab more of your calls, read more of your tweets, read more of your chat, and do it like that. A sports talk with hot sauce. Texas Pete Hot Sauce. This is the Doug Stewart Show.
This your folk, Doug Stewart. Want to protect you and your family from life's unexpected mishaps? Then join 7. Join 7 is a prepaid legal company under the umbrella of the Protection Group. Join 7 is the only group benefit or motor club in the U.S. that offers auto reimbursement coverage, key replacement coverage, roadside assistance, gives you a current Medi-file, prescription savings, and a fully encompassed prepaid legal benefit that includes identity theft. They got your back. The average combined cost to purchase these benefits individually is over $850 a year. Join today and take advantage of all 7 for $17 a month. They've been around for over 20 years, so check them out by clicking on the banner link on my page, thedugstewartshow.com, or the app. Just go ahead and join 7. All right, I know the deal. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right, billions with a B. Well, just do it, and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one source, a Facebook shopping application, a mobile-optimized website, and much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on the link on thedugstewartshow.com or the app link for details. The Doug Stewart Show is off and running, but just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk show personalities in America? By the way, that's me. Getting in on the ground floor? Well, call us at 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands nationally and worldwide, shawty. People know me and the Stews brand in these streets. Holla at you both. Once again, the number is 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com. Yes!
I'm seeing all my people in the crowd, hands up. But what I'm really seeing is I see your handcuffs.
This is the Doug Stewart Show coming to you live from the ATL Monday, October 6th, 2014. And we're in full swing right now with college football and the NFL. Big week in the world of the NFL. The Dallas Cowboys, they get a miraculous win, and I'm getting so much hate email right now from Dallas Cowboy fans. Why you hating on the Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? Damn it, if I hear how about them Cowboys one more time, I'm a puke. Yes, I'm going to puke. Oh, my gosh. Dallas. Like, who are the most obnoxious fans in sports? Think about that. And the reason why you're obnoxious is because you win a lot, and so you're kind of braggadocious. You rub it in people's faces, okay? So, but you win a lot. That's the common theme. The common thread is you win a lot of football games, and the funny thing about Dallas is they haven't been winning a lot of football games lately, but they're still obnoxious and braggadocious and all of those words, talking about teams that think their team or fans that think their team is the best team in the world. But they get just an absolute huge win this past weekend over the in-state rival, the Houston Texans. And I guess they are a rival now because the Houston Texans fans kind of like drowned out the Dallas Cowboy fans, and Tony Romo made mention of that after the game. You know, what the deal with all these darn, Texans fans? Well, you are in the same state, and I would think people would want to come and see Jerry's World, which it is like the eighth wonder of the world. So I get that. If you're from Dallas, is the rivalry right now as heated as when the Houston team was the Oilers when I was growing up? I mean, do y'all have that type of a rivalry in this series already? The Texans haven't been around that long, but it kind of looked like that this past weekend. And which was another strange thing, and maybe somebody can tell me this. I meant to ask this question earlier, but did y'all find it strange that they had two NFC games on at the same time yesterday? And I'm talking to people in Atlanta. I'm not sure about somewhere else. But they had the Dallas game and the Houston game on at the same time as the Falcons and the Giants. And you never really see that. You never really see that. Or have I just not been paying attention? Am I watching too much NFL Red Zone? Because I watch a ton of that. If the Falcons aren't playing, then I watch the Red Zone. So I'm skipping back and forth. So is this something new that's been happening lately? Where they're showing two NFC games at the same time? Usually it's one NFC game and then there's an AFC game on the other channel. But yesterday you had two ones, so I was flipping back and forth. Whenever they went to commercial on one, I went to the other, and it was just too much. So I wanted to see the Dallas game. I had to watch the Falcons game. You never really see that. Let's go ahead and talk to Pedro. Oh my gosh! And if this is the Pedro I think it is, we're in for trouble here. Pedro, thanks for calling the Doug Stewart Show. What you got?
What up, guys? What up, guys?
Yeah, this is the Pedro I thought it was, one of the most devout Dallas Cowboy fans that I know. What the deal, bro? How you doing?
All right, my first caller. I got to say, how about them Cowboys?
Oh, my gosh. Come on, bro. Don't do it to me, man. How many times have you said that this weekend, bro?
Hey, at least, I said it for the first phase. Started out from the morning all the way down to Sunday night. How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? Do you think the Cowboys are real, Petro?
We are real.
You think you're real? You're not factoring in the barely the come from behind win against St. Louis. You guys really had some incredible things happen yesterday against the Texans. You think the Cowboys are a team that's going to be reckoned with in the playoffs and maybe even the Super Bowl, huh?
If you're saying the Cowboys and playoffs in the same sentence, that looks like you say you answered that question yourself.
All right, what about this defense, man? I'm shocked at how good the defense is. I got to give you credit on the defense, though.
Hey, Jackson, right now we're 4-1. We all with our record say we are. Now, this weekend we're 3 shots away. We beat Seattle. So,
now, you know what? And Pedro, appreciate the call. That's Pedro from the A talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Big Cowboy fan. And I'm so sick of how about them Dallas Cowboys. But he's exactly right, okay? The Cowboys take on the Seattle Seahawks this weekend. Now, if y'all beat Seattle, okay, and you're going on the road to Seattle with the 12th man and all of that, if the Dallas Cowboys beat Seattle or even make it close till the end, then I will come in here with a newfound attitude and say, you are right, Dallas Cowboy fans. Your team is for real. But just some of the ways that the Cowboys have been winning over the last couple of weeks, and I mentioned in particular the St. Louis win and the Houston win, I just don't buy them yet. I mean, this is a team that I thought would win no more than 5 games coming into the season. Now, you got to give credit where credit's due. They're 4-1. They found ways to win. Tony Romo has kept the mistakes to a minimum. Jason Garrett's running the ball. You got to give a ball award out to DeMarco Murray. Yes, DeMarco Murray is really the catalyst for this team right now. And that's one thing you worry about if you're a Cowboy fan is at what point does Jason Garrett get bored with running the football? Which everybody and their mama have been saying for the last couple of years, the Cowboys should run the ball more. You know, Tony Romo's not a guy that you should let throw the ball 50 times. He just don't have that in his arsenal. You know, he's going to make mistakes. And Dallas, to their credit, has stuck with the run. They have. I even heard them mention yesterday that you have to think that DeMarco Murray's right now in a runoff for MVP. Like, he's one of the most valuable players right now in the NFL. He has another great game yesterday, 31 carries, 136 yards. If I'm not mistaken, I think this guy may have over 100 yards in every game. And I can go back and look and find out, and we can discuss it tomorrow. If somebody has it off the top of their head, they can tell me whether that's the case or not. But they have made a commitment to the run. And you just never saw that out of Dallas over the last couple of years under Jason Garrett. Just love to throw the ball all over the place. Just chunk it all over the place, Bo. And that's what the Dallas Cowboys have been about. And somehow they've come to the conclusion that that's not working, and they're going to run the ball. And let's see if they continue to do it. Let's see if they'll continue to do it. And another thing about Dallas and DeMarco Murray is the fact that DeMarco Murray's had a history of getting injured. Is kind of knock-kneed, kind of spindly legs. And so you knock on wood that the young man doesn't get hurt. I hope that no one gets hurt, but he's one of those guys that you would term as injury-prone. So if he can stay healthy, they can continue to feed it to him, open up play action. Dez Bryant is, one of the top 3-4 receivers in the league right now, the way he's playing. Tony Romo's keeping the mistakes to a minimum. If they can continue on the path that they are, who knows? They might make liars out of all of us. They might. They really might, because they've been winning. They've been finding ways to win. The defense is playing fantastic. I mean, in relative terms to what everybody thought they were going to be doing the start of the year, they've been playing fantastic. They've been keeping them in these games, like the St. Louis game. They got some crucial stops at the end when they needed them. And you got to go ahead and give it up to the Dallas Cowboys. You got to. I mean, who am I to hate on a team or to disregard what the team's actually doing on the field? I'm looking at it with my own eyes. So there you go, Cowboy fans. Damn it. Stop. All right, stop. There should be a moratorium on we them Cowboys or how about them Cowboys. And, you got 2 days to do all of that. All right, so today's your last day. You had Sunday, the day you win the game, and then you got today. So just stop. But how about them Cowboys? And Jimmy Johnson, he should have had that trademark. How about them Cowboys? It is kind of funny. It is kind of funny, all of the memes. Like the most memed event in sports in the history of sports was probably after LeBron and the Miami Heat lost in the championship this year. There were like 1 million different memes. Yes. And yesterday I saw 1 million, how about them Cowboys? And different people saying, how about them Cowboys? And now they're doing a new one. We them boys? Yeah, we them boys. Okay. I saw that one plastered all over Facebook and on Twitter. We them boys, for the little rap song that's out right now. We them boys. I guess that's the title. So, yeah. Dallas is doing the damn thing. Dallas is doing the damn thing. All right, man. Thank you to everybody that listened to the show today. Thank you to everybody that helped with the show. Shouts out to the Tree of Life, Tree Taylor. Thank you so much, Tree. I appreciate everything that you do. Shouts out to Whip Inside the Head, Walter. My other producer, my assistant producer. Thank you so much, Walter. Appreciate it. Yeah. Take that hat off. Walter's got on a Falcons hat today. Not a good day for Falcons fans. And also, shouts out to my man Dwayne Vassan, my engineer / web guy. Yes, and also to my man Gerald Oliveri. Shouts out, Gerald. Gerald put down the new Doug Stewart app. Yes, you can find the Doug Stewart app in the App Store. Go ahead and download it. They've got all the past episodes. They've also got, you can listen live. A lot of other little cute stuff on there. We're updating it as we go, but you can go listen to the past shows on there, as well as listen live Monday through Friday from 11 to 1. Continue to tell people. Just do me one favor. At some point today, tell 2 people. I don't care if you text them, you email, but just tell 2 people. And we're going to build this show to the biggest, the most dynamic, the most entertaining sports talk show in America. Yes. Studio audience, thank you very much. I mean, our studio audience comes to play. Yes, they always on cue. Love you, studio audience. I nub you. All right, tomorrow is a Trivia Tuesday. We'll talk about Monday Night Football. We'll also read your tweets and get your phone calls and do all the stuff that we do every single day on this show. All right, it's the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you very much. Peace.